How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Pandora Rising video. Today's going to be our in-depth look at troop stats. So I'm going to list off all the stats right now, and then we're going to go through each individual unit and talk about those stats. So all possible stats are as follows: health, shield health, damage, charge damage, tower damage, hit speed, range, targets, movement speed, attack radius, spell radius, squad size, spawn level, spawn speed, lifetime, and knockback duration. So all these different stats you're going to see compiled across a whole bunch of different units. We'll start with the first character on here, which is the Guardian. And we can see his stats down here. We did take a look at him in the troop overview video, and I'll break down each of these stats, and then as we go through the different stat types, I'll pull up other units just so you can see what the stat icon and numbers look like, and we'll break it down. So health, that's your unit's hit points. That's how much damage they can take before they go down. Shield health, similar to the health stat, is how much damage their shield can take before it goes down. Now, your health and your shield health don't drop at the same time. Your shield needs to be depleted first, and then they can affect your health, and then once your health is gone, your unit goes down. Now damage, that's how much damage this unit does per swing. So you can see there 244.75. Now they're swinging at a speed of 2.75 seconds per swing. So they're attacking almost once every 3 seconds, which is quite slow. Then you have their range, which is melee. So in terms of how far they have to be from something, the in-game measurement is not done in a specific value. It's basically units. So it would be 1 unit, or from 0 to 1 unit of distance. There's other types of range. So we're going to get into that as we go through the other troops. Targets, ground, for this unit. Target type is what kind of units they can attack. So ground encompasses other ground units as well as buildings. And then you have speed, which is their movement speed. This unit has a slow movement speed, but there is 3 speeds. There's slow, average, and fast. So let's take a look at another unit who's got more unique stats. The champion, you can see here, has health as well, but this character has area damage. And the reason he has area damage is because he swings his big axe in a big circle around him. So we're going to touch on that here in a sec. So the area damage is 2 hits at 124.25 damage. And he's hitting at a speed of 1 swing per every 1.5 seconds. Again, his range is melee. His target type is ground. And radius. This is the radius in which he deals damage. So it's a 6 unit circle around him. And as far as I can tell, it's the total radius. So it'd be 3 units in front, above, beside, and below him. It's not 6 units out in every direction. And then his speed is average. Okay, we'll go over to someone who has some charge damage. Now there's 3 units actually on the Na'vi that have charge damage: the Dire Horse, the Titanothere, and the Warbeast. So you can see here again, health, damage, just regular damage, and then charge damage. So once this unit's deployed, it takes a couple seconds, and you'll notice that the animation changes and it starts to run. Now, if it connects with a unit or a building while it's charging or running, you're going to deal all that bonus damage. And it's significant. It's 5 times more than his regular swing damage. Again, hit speed, 1 swing per 2 seconds, melee, range. Target type is building though. And what does that mean? Well, that means that this unit is going to ignore other troops. So if there's a swarm of VIPERWOLFs coming down to hit your base, and you deploy your Dire Horse Rider, he's just going to blow past them and ignore them completely. And then again, we have slow speed. Now, let's see if we can find a ranged unit here, fire thrower. So health is the same, area damage. This is a little different than the area damage that we saw on the champion. This area damage is the damage he's dealing where his projectile lands. So you don't see a multiplier, it's just one hit at 164 damage. Hit speed again. Range is 10 units. Now, you'll see the range when you deploy the unit, or like when you're holding your finger on the card and you drag it down over the battlefield, you'll see a blue ring. And I'll put a little demonstration here up on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Target types, ground and air, and now radius. So this radius is going to be essentially the splash of his attack. So wherever his projectile lands, it's going to deal 164 damage in a 3.5 unit radius. And then again, speed, slow. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look at a special power card, just so we can talk about the third and final damage type, which is tower damage. Now, if we open up the Hellswarm here, you can see the regular area damage. Now, this stat is something we covered briefly in the unit overview video, but today we're going to touch on this tower damage stat. Now, the tower damage stat works the same way that your area damage stat does, but if you look at the numbers, it does significantly less damage. Now, why is that? Well, if you throw this card or this spell on top of units, you're going to deal your full damage, which is 26 times 26.5 points of damage. But if you throw it on a tower, you're only dealing 26 times 6.63 points of damage, which is a lot less damage. So in most cases, it's not efficient to use cards like this on towers. But I mean, in a crunch, or if the tower is very low, you may be able to take it out using a spell like this. So you can see as well that this card has a lifetime stat. And what is lifetime? Well, it essentially just means duration. So once this projectile or this spell hits the battlefield, it'll stay active for 13 seconds. Now, you can't attack a spell card, so it will just sit there and create a pool of damage for the full duration of 13 seconds. Now, radius, this radius works just like any other radius in the game. It's going to be a 6-unit radius from the point, at the point of impact. Okay, let's move on and look at a building. So the buildings do have some relatively unique stats. This is the VIPERWOLF den. So it does have a health. Then you can see what type of troop it spawns. So in this case, VIPERWOLFs. These VIPERWOLFs are the same as the VIPERWOLF units that you can deploy. It's just that they're popping out of their den here. Now their spawn level, typically this coincides with the level of the building you have. So the building is level 25 and it's spawning units that are also level 25. Now we have spawn speed. This is something new. Spawn speed dictates how often this building is spawning units. So you can see 0.95 seconds. That means it's going to spawn units just shy of every 1 second. And again, we have a lifetime stat here. Now the lifetime or the duration stat on a building works a little bit differently. As the time sort of ticks away, it's actually reducing the health of the building. So if this building's being attacked, the lifetime is basically irrelevant. In some cases, you want to have buildings deployed behind your towers so that they're not being attacked and they can last the full duration. And in other circumstances, you're going to actually want to place your buildings in front of your towers, possibly to absorb damage or to distract other units while you get something happening. So just something to keep in mind. The lifetime and health stats on these tower units or these building units mix with each other in kind of a funky way. So we only have a few more stat types to go through. One of those is going to be squad size. So you see that on the very bottom left there? Squad size is essentially how many units you're spawning when you use this troop or this unit card. So the health and the damage that you see there is for each individual member of that squad. Okay, so you can take that damage essentially and multiply it by 9. So you're going to get almost 900 damage. And then as each unit falls, obviously your damage will whittle back slowly until they're all gone. So squad size, you'll see with a couple different units, it ranges from 2 to 9. And we may see other cards in the future that have different variants of squad sizes. Okay. I think that about wraps it up. Oh, actually, this one here. This is the only troop in the game that has knockback duration. Now, it's interesting that there's no knockback distance stat, but what I can tell you is knockback duration is way more effective against slow units. Because of the time it takes them to move, if they're slower, the longer they're knocked back, the harder it is for them to advance. Now, this is not a kind of building that you want to use against swarm units because they'll just overrun it, but this building does very well against single heavy units. Really appreciate you guys checking this out. I hope you guys learned something from this, and I'll catch you in the next video.